I gotta get critical for this one. I'm gonna try to control the volume of my voice. I'm gonna try to not speak too erratically. I'm gonna try to keep my emotions at bay. I'm gonna be as monotone as possible to not upset anybody's feelings or stir anything up. So here we go. If I'm going to continue doing this, I would like to get this channel down to about 100 or less regular viewers. I've been working at this goal for a long time. For a while, it's been a weeding out process, as in years, not months, not days, not weeks, years. Because part of the reason that we're here is to find out who our true friends are. And I'm not kidding, like, this is a very important thing that a lot of people, I think, underestimate. In fact, when you have really advanced a lot as a spiritual being, you're going to arrive at this place where all that begins to matter to you anymore is sovereignty. And with that comes freedom. And you can't have either of those without morality. So morality becomes the primary focus, and it is the most important thing that I know of. If you're dealing with another being who claims to be spiritual, and they're not frequently discussing what's right versus what is wrong, if you see that their decision-making process is not rooted in that sense of having a true moral compass that always points north, I would suggest taking some time away from them. Or at least not taking what they have to say very seriously. You can do whatever you want, but this is how I function these days, because I know that morality is the primary focus. In a sense, so is true love. You can't have true love either without morality first. Without morality, you lose freedom. You lose sovereignty. You lose sovereignty because you've now lost freedom. And when you have a world like that, you cannot experience true love, and you definitely can't experience unconditional love. But as I've said before, I am not unconditional love. Don't ever expect that of me. I am true love, and true love has preference. True love can be lost. Never to return. And I shudder to say that. I really don't like saying that. I'm trying to keep this video as calm, focused, centered, and grounded as I possibly can. I have no interest in flying up in the clouds anymore. I have no interest in getting lost in all these newfound spiritual beliefs. I'm not that interested in insights unless it has to do with morality, unless it has to do with sovereignty itself. I can hear somebody out, I can be interested, but that's not what I'm seeking out. So please understand what I'm trying to say. Listen to my words, play them back, listen again, make sure you understand them and fully understand them, and then that way you can understand me and where I'm coming from. I am always open to changing my view on things. Not necessarily from a moral standpoint, but as far as like what's what, how does it all add up? Where are we? When are we? Who are we? And ultimately, where is it all going? That I am open to change, if necessary. But I know right from wrong. I've experienced both sides of it to the fullest extent that I know of. I have lived many dark lives in many dark times. I've also had some good ones, where things were a lot brighter, things were a lot cheerier. I learned from both. For me, it wasn't just one side of the coin. I do believe that there's those that are here that have only experienced one side of the coin, or are now just starting to experience what evil truly is, because before they didn't believe in its existence. And the reason for that is because they had never experienced it. So upon showing up to this place, they believed that it was something depicted in movies. But turns out it's all real. despite what the nihilists say and all their bullshit rhetoric. Those poor lost souls that just go into the darkness and never return, they don't take anything back from it. They go into the darkness and they claim that the darkness is all there is, and that darkness is meaningless. And I am here to say that it isn't. And that in and of itself is just about as close as you could get to the ultimate lie of our existence. That there is no meaning. There is no purpose. There is no sovereignty. There's no such thing as true love. There's no such thing as freedom. I will say, however, that there is no such thing as true love in this life. Besides you, if you are true love, meaning you are true in your every action, meaning you don't cover up your mistakes, you say what you mean what you say. When you say you're going to be somewhere, you're there, on time. If you can't be, if something comes up, you let it be known right away to whoever you made the commitment with. You are that sure of yourself. You are that honest. And that is the only kind of person that I am even willing to consider being around these days. And that's just to deal with me. I know people don't like hearing this, but I also have to talk about something else that I realize people aren't going to want to hear, but there is a spiritual hierarchy. It's just not in the hierarchical sense that we have been trained and shown that hierarchy exists. This world has a hierarchical system in place, but it's all based on a lie. So how can anything about that be true? How can anything about that be right? How can it be moral? It's not. But all of that comes from us in our personal responsibility. If you are not true in all of your actions, you're not ready. I'm not ready. I'm saying this to myself. Let's be clear. Every video I've ever made, I've made to myself. Like coaching myself, because I don't really have anyone else. I have one other person, literally one other physical person in my life who I can actually go to for real advice on this stuff. Oh, excuse me, two people. Two men in my life that I actually trust. Because they display that they know what they're doing. They are who they say they are. Not perfect, but about as close as you could get for human error. And we're all under that spell right now. I believe that's why they call each age of the earth, or the supposed earth, an era. Because it was an error. If that isn't learned from, it's going to repeat itself. If this whole thing isn't learned from, everyone who hasn't learned from it is going to take that with them. That misunderstanding. In other words, their sin, meaning missing the mark, meaning you didn't get it right, meaning you fucked up, meaning it wasn't good enough, meaning try again until you do get it right. It's about the harsh, I'm going to call this, 1, a detention center, 2, a training ground, not a school. This is not an elementary school. This isn't even a high school or a college. And I think that every single being, every individual soul is going to get exactly out of it what they put into it. And fair will be square. Meaning there is going to be, and I don't want to go too much down this dark road, but there's going to be a shitload. I have an obligation to say what I know is the truth. Or at least for right now, what I think is the truth, what I believe is the truth. And I have every right to say it. If I don't, technically I'm being dishonest. And I'm not going to do that. So if it hurts your feelings, there's nothing I can do about it. Just don't listen. But there is going to be a lot of regret. And I mean a shitload of regret after all this is over. The relationships that people are going to lose, the people that they didn't believe in, those they lost faith in, losing faith in themselves, betraying somebody out of jealousy, really making it your mission to hurt another being, to put them in pain, and make them suffer against their will because it is the will of your own, I am not saying that you can't come back from that. But I do know that there is a possibility, depending on what the other being wants to do, that you may actually lose them forever. And I mean forever, meaning in eternity. It could have been somebody that you loved very much, and because things weren't working out, you might have done something to hurt them, and they had to distance themselves from you. It's very possible you lost them for eternity. This is why I take this very seriously. Friendship means nothing to people anymore. I have never met a better friend than me in this life. I can't find it. I haven't found it yet. I've found very close, but I haven't found me. And I guess that's what I'm always looking for. Because I realize, and I think this applies to each and every one of us, I'm just saying, but true love in the truest sense exists within each of us. And that is the most powerful love and the most powerful force of will in all of existence for your entire existence, because no other will ever be capable of giving you the same love that you have for yourself within yourself. So that's why I continue to say, as I've said before for years now, never give up on you. There's always a way back. There's always a way to get it right. You might never be able to get back to what you previously had. That might not even be a possibility anymore. The truth is harsh. Once you've done a certain amount of damage, it can't be repaired. There is no coming back from it. Unless the other being that you harmed decides that they are going to let you back in because they see that you have truly changed. That's the exception. I also want to make it clear I am not saying this to threaten anybody. Nobody. Because I don't want anybody to experience any of this, which is why I'm saying it. I am in a way some sort of like a spiritual, not only detective, but also deterrent. I don't condemn people most of the time, unless I truly feel that they deserve it. And even then, I don't like doing it. You lose me as a friend, you've just lost your last friend. Seriously, that is how forgiving and understanding I am. And that's something that I'm actually trying to change, because I see that it's become a problem. I'm too kind when I shouldn't have to be. Too kind. Too generous. Too loving. Because that's who I always decide to be. But perhaps that makes me naive, and perhaps I still have a lot to learn. I'll tell you something though. Even if I could hit a magic button and give everybody their powers, their supernatural powers back, their divinity back, everything that they've ever had, all the powers of all the gods, whatever it may be, if I could hit that button, I simply wouldn't do it. I would not choose to do it right now. Because all hell, I know that all hell would break loose. That's a given. If you don't think so, I don't believe you're seeing straight. The internet, in a sense, is a beautiful thing because it showed who everyone really was at heart. They could come up with an anonymous name. They could hide under a fake identity and get away with saying whatever they wanted, get away with, or so they thought, getting away with treating people however they wanted. And some of them did it for a very long time. I think in the end, not in the end, I hate saying that because that sounds like some sort of like revelation thing. I don't believe it's like that. I mean when this is over. Meaning when the veil is truly lifted, and it will be. When all comes to light, when all is shown for exactly what it is, with no curve, no grading on a curve, no cheats, no lies, nothing. Just the truth, exactly as it is, fair and square. And that's it. The internet specifically is going to turn out to sort of be a revelation in and of itself, because it gave everyone the ability to participate in basically an arena that's all focused and centered around people's beliefs and what they're doing and who they believe they are. But then we're all going to see the other side of that, who the individual really was, what they were really hiding behind, what they chose to do from a moral standpoint, how they treated people in the comments, how they treated people in videos. All of it is going to be exposed 100%, and nobody will have anything to hide behind. No shadows to hide behind anymore, because all shadows will be erased. Every single trace. And there will be no going back to it, because the truth will be revealed. That's why I say I know there's going to be a deep, eternal, possibly eternal regret. I have to say possibly, because like I said, I still believe that there's always time to change. But if what happens, and this is a problem we've been facing for a long time, if not an eternity, one of them is the problem of jealousy. That I know is one of the biggest problems we've been facing. People beings who can't respect the identity of somebody else. They need to constantly steal and masquerade, and not just all in good fun. They actually copy people. Excuse me, I need to take a water break. I've been going too long. They actually copy people's personalities rather than forging their own. And they keep doing it, even when it bothers the other individual. They steal things they say. They steal their art. They steal their music. They steal their look, steal their style. They're thieves. Copycats. Face stealers. In the most abusive kind, what they do is they steal your face, meaning they take on your characteristics and sell them off as their own. So they steal from you. They lie and cheat and pass it off as their own, as if it's their own creation. And then what they do is they destroy your identity to the best of their ability and capability. And this is really what they do, and they're everywhere. They're the type that just because something can be created, they believe it should be. Because the greatest horrors we've ever known can exist, they want it to exist. Because what's the point of creating if you can't just do whatever you want? And that is not sovereignty. That actually takes away sovereignty. Not coming to agreements on things. Not establishing rules. And yes, you heard me correctly. Rules. Real ones. Laws that don't get broken. And there's severe consequences if they do. That actually is part of sovereignty. And that's why I say if I could hit that magic button, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even consider it right now. Give us all of our powers back? Hell no. Absolutely not. Even if I have to sacrifice obtaining my own. With what I see people doing to each other out there, no way. Because what people do online, first of all, because that is basically the best way to reveal who somebody is. Because, like I said, the anonymous aspect to it. They can hide like a chicken shit and basically get away with whatever they want. That tells you exactly what is in the heart of that being, or that soul if they have one. It tells you exactly what they're all about. To the letter. So that's why I say I'm actually grateful for it. Two, come to think of it, I'm grateful we're still here and that we still live in a mundane reality. Very grateful. Three, I'm glad nothing significant has happened yet because people aren't even close to ready. And furthermore, if I was to be able to escape, I would leave most of you here right now until you were ready. That doesn't mean trap you here forever, but most people I've ever known or interacted with, I would get out and say they still need more time. They have a lot of shit to work through within themselves. You can't bring that to my realm. You can't bring that to heaven. You can't bring that in a place where morality is the law. It's not allowed. And if you aren't okay with that, guess what? You don't get in. Period. And if that hurts feelings, guess what? I don't give a fuck. And I never will. Because I would actually be a bad person if I did. If I was that weak that I'm like, oh, well, so-and-so went through a lot of trauma. I guess it's okay that they treated that person like crap. They were hurting inside. I know they did it 100 times and they never learned their lesson. And even when told to stop, they kept doing it. But hey, they've been through a lot of PTSD. I'll let them in. No. Fuck that. And somebody who would allow that, who's going to be that lenient, would not be suitable to, never mind create, but even just exist in a realm where the truth is the law, where morality is the law. And I mean true morality, meaning you don't violate the consent of another being under any circumstances, and they don't violate yours. There's still mistakes that can be made. Nothing is ever perfect. It's just that the truth is known. And everyone should submit to that law. As in submit. I don't care if that hurts your ego, and I don't give a damn if you don't like it. That law is above me. It's above you. It is above God himself. And God obeys that law. And I'm saying this in a way theoretically, even though deep down I know it's the truth. Because why would you ever want to be around any type of creator or God or whoever they're claiming to be that can actually prove that, yeah, they made all there is to make, but, they don't have to play by their own rules. They don't have to obey the law that they made. They don't have to be a sane, moral, benevolent being, but you do? And they're going to punish you if you don't? How is that fair? No, even God should have to submit to this law, meaning obey it, or else you get chaos. You get literally an eternity in hell for everyone. If people were allowed to leave this realm now just as they are, they would screw it all up, and I probably would. I have come a long way, and I'm still saying I'm not ready, and I've realized this. My moral compass needs tuning. It needs work. It needs cleaning. It needs refining. And so does yours. And anyone else who's going to say that they're exempt from this, you don't even exist to me right now. If you aren't true in all of your actions, if you don't literally do what you say you're going to do all the time, if you're not honest with yourself about everything that there is to be honest about, yes, there's time. Yes, there's patience involved. Yes, there's work involved. Yes, it's a process. But are you working on it? Are you taking it seriously? And meanwhile, still enjoying the things in your life that you love. I really don't believe anybody is going to be capable of the true love that you are. And if you're looking for it from another source, you're going to be very, very disappointed, because most people only care about themselves. Most. Not all, but most. There's exceptions. And I'm glad there is. Because for somebody to really care about you, imagine this. Imagine you have a friend that actually truly loves you. They check on you. They think about you. They listen to the music that you like and actually listen to it. They think about who you are. They imagine what your soul could be at its epitome. Like they really truly see you and they feel you. And there's a genuine care and interest. Meaning if you were all the way across the country and you called in the middle of the night and you said, I'm in jail and I need help and I don't know what else to do, I don't know who to call, can you help? They would be there. It wouldn't matter what they had going on. They would drop everything, even at the risk of losing their job, and they would go get you. That is a real friend, and that is true love. Or at least it has to do with it. It's not all of it. You go find me a friend like that. I'll be waiting. It just amazes me to this day, and this isn't being said out of any kind of condescension, but I just can't believe how few people understand a message like this, or how many people get angry about it, looking for the answers here and over there, and is it this in this holy text or that holy text, and oh, if I go back to 4,000, AD or whatever. I got nothing against research. I got nothing against, somebody filling their reserves of knowledge. I have nothing against that. But when that's all somebody's doing, is chasing the answers online. Is it here? Is it there? Where is it? What's going to happen next? Fill in the blank. I got nothing against it, but it's that lack of understanding about what truly matters most. Every spiritual being who is this advanced, and yes, I am advanced for a person on earth, or in this sim or whatever, you'd know this. You will arrive at this conclusion. For a while. Unless there's something I don't know of beyond it. Maybe. I keep an open mind. But it's going to come down to morality. It's going to come down to right versus wrong. It's going to come down to true self-honesty. And being who you say you are at all times. And getting better all the time. I'll end with this. I also think, and I'm allowed to think this. In fact, if I want to think about this for 3 days straight and do nothing else, I'm allowed to. I can think whatever I want. If I don't put something into practice, it becomes a lie. Depending on what it is. But where I say this is a training ground, in a sense it is. I believe some of us more advanced souls who have been here for a long time, we have learned the lessons of the darkness and the light. We've been down and up and down and all around. You take so much with you internally from all of your soul's experience. You just can't access all of it because you're riding a piece of hardware. You are operating a device called your body that has to download that program in order to learn. Even if you were the best artist in another life, you could have painted the Sistine Chapel or whatever it is. But you're going to have to learn all that shit again. There might be a resonance with art this time around. You might have been a rock star in another life. Chances are high you could have been. I think we all get a ride like that if we want one. And music has infinite combinations. A lot of the songs here are poor, choppy renditions of songs we used to know. Specifically the 80s and 90s. They're redos on whatever the originals were. And I can hear it. I can make the connection. I know more than most people can even fathom I do. I just don't say it. Because what's the point? Nobody is me. Nobody's going to understand the way that I do. That doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It just means that I know they aren't going to understand. They don't see what I see. And I don't see what you see. I might be able to take on your understanding because I understand my own. And that will only open up doors for me to my own understanding, as well as yours. I like being interested in somebody else. I like learning about them. I enjoy it. It fills in the gaps. It helps me build what I lack. And even if it didn't, it's interesting getting to know somebody else and who they are as a soul. and even just acknowledge and appreciate all the ways that they're different from you, and just enjoying your time with them, giving with no expectations, really enjoying when somebody else you love or care about is happy. But as far as this all being a training ground, I think some of us who have been used to this were given some very difficult bodies to work with. Some of that was done to actually harm us, big time, and cause wounds to our soul, deep ones. However, I believe that if we can trudge through the muck, when we get to dry land, so to speak, we're going to be able to move a lot faster. Meaning that when all these laws and limitations are lifted, and they will be, because we don't have to experience them without our consent, everything we ever did in any life is all going to be added to our greater being, the fullest extent of who we are. And I believe there's a war to win. Meaning, like, again, there's going to be a lot of regret if people didn't take working out seriously. If people just said, you know, I shouldn't have to do that, it hurts a little bit. They weren't willing to push through. They weren't willing to learn discipline. There's something to be said for extremely disciplined individuals. It's not a Stockholm Syndrome thing. You do it for your own good and for the good of those that you love. Yeah, you might want to do something else, but hey, I could go do that thing that's going to really help me better myself. Even though I don't want to do that as much, I'm going to make sure I get that done first, and then I'll have time for pure enjoyment, because that's more important. I don't want any regret in my life or at the end of it. Every piece of artwork that you did, everything you ever created, every song you ever wrote in any lifetime, every skill you learned, every talent you developed, every persona you took on, we are going to have access to all of it. And it's going to be multiplied exponentially based on what we did even this time around. And it's going to be fair and square, meaning it's going to all be determined by you. You don't have to be the best athlete in the world. That might not be in the cards for you or in the script. But perhaps your life this time around is about something else. And you got to find out what that is. It might be about multiple things. Mine was. If it's your last time here, it's going to be one big collaboration, kind of like a surprise party of all of your themes. You'll be the jack of all trades. You'll develop all the aspects of yourself, basically one at a time, the things that you know you need to. Focusing primarily on a few. But that doesn't mean you're going to be world famous. But when you leave here, guess what? Everything that you did in secret will all come to light, and it will multiply. That's what I believe. That's what I think, and I'm allowed to think so. And there's nothing anybody can ever do about it. Ever. I will always eternally, forever, be able to think whatever I want, whenever I want. And nobody can ever take that away. So even if you disagree, well, tell me why. That can be done respectfully. You going to operate like a king? Are you going to decide things? Are you going to treat others with utmost respect who've treated you with respect? Are you going to show others kindness like a fucking man when you were shown that kindness, but maybe you didn't recognize it? Are you going to act like a king? Like the rightful ruler of a realm? Or are you going to continue to be a little bitch and crawl in the dirt and disrespect others and act like it's all about you? Because it ain't. I got some bad news for you. It ain't. Some of it has to do with you. But if you're not paying attention to what those things are, you're going to miss the whole damn point. And that is how a king addresses another king. Sir. Yes, sir. Not following orders, just greeting somebody. Treating them, another king, another man, what have you, with the respect that they deserve. Whether you get it in return or not. If they disrespect you, then they've just made it clear they're not what you thought they were. You don't have to continue with that. But when somebody treats you right, treat them right, damn it. These are old values that we learned that are important. They matter more than people realize. And I'm tired of people acting like a bunch of fucking ingrates, to be honest. Some of you are. And that just doesn't sit right with me. Because essentially what I believe will happen is you're going to get bitch smacked upside the head and across the ass from the truth when you're forced to look at yourself and what an ugly shit stain you've become. And that's going to take a while. And there'll be nothing you can do about it. This isn't a threat. I'm simply telling you. You could say as a friend what is going to happen to you. What you're going to be forced to witness if you don't get it right. And don't get it right just for that. I'm talking about a true, genuine change of heart in the right direction. And there is a right direction. Somebody says there is no right and wrong, they're an asshat. They're a clown. They say morality doesn't matter. Fuck them. They don't matter. The end.